look at Cade, unbelievable year.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have an unbelievable career. What about him? What about his game? What about him as a person did you pick up that you feel like sort of, contributes to that specialness?
I think he's way more mature than his age. He has his mindset, the way he takes care of his body, the way he goes out there and works on his craft. Feels like he's probably been in the league for over a decade. He does an incredible job of just playing at his pace. Really doesn't have any weaknesses. 3-level score, would dunk on you if he has to. Can play both ends of the floor. Which is somewhat rare in the league. You don't have you have some stars players that will play defense, but it's very rare that star players actually take the challenge of guarding the other team's best player throughout the whole entire night. It was cool just to see him take the challenge and see coach and the staff, give him a challenge to go out there and compete at the highest level on both ends of the floor, and he floored.
Can you fill us in on being his teammate? Because we've had a bunch of people come on the show, not his teammate. Everyone respects him, but he definitely gets into it with people. So being his teammate, what that's like.
Man, Isaiah Stewart is probably one of the best teammates I've ever had, man. He has a heart of gold. Wouldn't hurt a fly. But when he steps in between them lines, I don't know what triggers him or what happens. But he becomes something that you can't really teach. So, but that right there, that type of attitude and that type of energy that he brought, it kind of molded what the Pistons were about back in the day. And it gave us that energy to go out there and try to do whatever we could to win. So, but Stu, man, he's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
All right, man, let's talk about Tim Hardaway Jr. He actually did an interview. I don't know who he did an interview with. I know Cam Johnson used to be at the Brooklyn Nets and Phoenix Suns, now in the Nuggets. Was on the interview, and he talked about being in the city of Detroit, But he talked on two specific things, as Stewart and Cade Cunningham will talk about in this video. But he did speak well about the city of Detroit. He said most guys don't really understand what it is to play here and how it is to be here. And I don't really understand the whole, misconception about Detroit. If you got money, I mean, you don't have to be in the shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? The Metro Detroit area, the suburbs supply a great style of life, honestly. But everybody want to be LA, Miami, New York. And what's so funny, a lot of these guys, they come from college towns. So to me that's crazy. But he praised the fans, he praised the city. Said the perception isn't really the reality. For the most part, people know that. And a lot of people move away and they miss it. But he had praise for Stu and Cade Cunningham, and he talked about what made Cade Cunningham so great is that he really doesn't have weaknesses, and then the work he put in his body says that, he's a 3-level scorer. He can guard the opposing team's best player, and that shout out to Bickerstaff for, challenge him on that. He said he can dunk if he have to. He said he really doesn't really have a weakness in his game. And to be honest, it's true. Whether it's finishing above the rim, we've seen it, whether it's posting to get a bucket, whether it's, blowing by somebody, whether it's making people better with the ball, playing off the ball, catching and shooting, whether it's creating, whether it's the midi, whether it's, finishing at the hoop. Now he's starting to get foul calls, whether it's the tray ball. I mean, whether it's, going out there and defending at a high level. You know what I'm saying? And then you hear about, the work he putting on his body. You hear how much money Russell Wilson put on his body, invest into his body. You hear about how much money LeBron invests into his body. and he had injuries early on. And part of the injuries, in my opinion, in the NBA that nobody talks about is these guys physically aren't ready. That's why you've seen guys like Michael Jordan, guys like James Worthy and them guys spend 2-3 years in college, because that helps you physically mature. You think about it, at 17, 18 years old, you going to be a man. Your body ain't even mature yet. So imagine if they let 17, 18-year-olds go into the NFL, what would happen? They would get completely trounced over. They couldn't survive, most of them. So that's the part of going to college. It helps you, college, they get you on the meal plan. You finally start lifting real weight. So you are prepared to build up physically. A lot of these guys to get out of college for 1 year, that's not enough year to really build their body up, and that's why they struggle to have injuries early on. He's vegan, so as an athlete, they say that's a bad thing. But as long as you can, supplement or make up for the iron deficiency and some of the protein that you're not getting, you should be just fine. So obviously, if he's vegan, he care about what he put in his body. So now it was just physically putting the work in so he can take the grind in the NBA. And sometimes that's just lack of body maturity. That's all it is. Sometimes your body just ain't physically ready. You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to speed the process up that it ain't meant to be sped up. You meant to go to college for 2, 3, 4 years to build your body up. But then he spoke on Beef Stew and says that, the perception of him, it's not true. Him being this, this enforcer and being this crazy guy. He said he got a heart of gold. He said he don't know what it is when he step inside those, lines, that he turns into his alter ego. But he said he's one of the best teammates he's had. So I can believe it. I know when you play football, you got to be a little crazy when you play football, MMA, box. Sometimes you go into a different mode. It's kind of remind you like, Goku when he goes Super Saiyan. It's not, he ain't the nice guy. He kind of go a little crazy. Some of these, sometimes you step in between those lines, you gotta turn into something that you ain't. I remember Gilbert Arenas said, Isaiah Stewart pulled up on him. He said, we talking all that shit, what up now? He pulled up on him. And there's some people who with the shit, man, Rochester, New York ain't for the faint. Hope y'all know that. Rochester, New York ain't for the faint. Rochester, New York get busy. Shout out to upstate New York. They get busy. That's where Stu from. I know a couple people from around that way. I knew somebody from Syracuse. Everything. Syracuse is Syracuse. That's where the University of Syracuse is at. But yeah, Stu is seen as that tough guy. But then, then again, you hear stories about or rumors they want Vujovic for Stu, but that's part of the culture. Really, it's we really didn't understand why they paid Stu. Well, I didn't understand. I don't put that jacket on y'all. Why they paid Stu, but I see it now. I see it's the cultures, the intangibles, and then the tangible things that he brings. Some of those tangible things that he brings. Some of them tangibles he brings. Defensively, you've seen this work. Sometimes, man, when you're young, sometimes you let people walk out your life and you see, oh, man, they have some value. Stu, we lost him versus New York. It's like, damn, if we would have had Stu, we would have won. And I think a lot of people gained a lot of respect for Jaden Ivey, too. They blame Cole Anthony. Y'all know I don't like hoe-ass Cole Anthony. I heard he got traded, but I can't tell a lie. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell a lie. That that I think that was just a good basketball play. Not gonna say good one. I just think he was hustling, and I don't think he had any ill intent to injure Jaden Ivey. So I and I've said that from the beginning. I know people say, "Oh, he did that on." No, he didn't do that on purpose. Not in my opinion. Like what I seen was just a basketball play. And obviously, Aiden Hudson suffered this, a very, very similar play. We thought it was over for both of them, and it wasn't as bad as we thought. So, yeah, man, I can't put that on him and lie on that man and say he did that shit on purpose. He didn't. He was just hustling. But thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. Check out the Detroit Pistons Talk playlist. Peace.